First, thank you so much for doing this interview with me, and I have to say congratulations. The celebration of music with Toronto, Canada, 150 years has been amazing throughout the summer. So much live music. How do you feel being able to bring this type of music, live music, to Toronto for free for so many people who have, like I said, and I've seen them rocking it out there?
Yeah, you bet. We're so pleased with the way the series has launched. We've had 2 nights already. We did Queen West, Sounds of Alt Rock Country at the Horseshoe. And then earlier this week at Hughes Room Live, we celebrated folk. We've had packed houses both nights. And we know that when the people are coming, they're coming not just because of some of the favorites that are on the roster, like Sylvia Tyson as our veteran in the folk genre, or Whitney Rose, the rising star in the alt country genre, but people are coming to discover new sounds, because part of the inspiration for Sounds Like Toronto is to look at Toronto as an incubator, as a city in Canada where so much music out of so many genres has spilled into the national ear audience. And we want to celebrate all the clubs, all the people, all the artists, the creativity, the songwriting that has come out of Toronto.
Was this something that was kind of lost, and this was why that this initiative was brought in? Because I remember growing up, watching the new music and stuff and being able to see all these different bands, getting older, being able to go out to see these bands. But then there seemed to be, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, a lull. And now with what you guys have been doing, there's no lull anymore. There's like an explosion going on now.
Okay, well, I can't get too theoretical about why people stay home or don't come home. Free is certainly an incentive, and it inspires, inclusivity, and we want everybody to come. Anybody who's interested, leave your inhibitions at home. Come to the Reggae Club on Saturday night up at Eglinton and Oakwood and hear some veterans like Nana McLean and Jay Douglas, and hear some new sounds. And get out of your comfort zone, or come and hear some global music at Lula Lounge in a couple of weeks. Hear the sounds of Cuba and Trinidad and a global orchestra pulled together by Mervyn Mehta at the Royal Conservatory of Music, but it's all been incubated in Toronto. It's uniquely a Toronto sound. I don't know, sometimes I think people are suffering from social media fatigue and phone fatigue, and when you're hearing live music, it's authentic, it's a one-off. One performance one night is not going to be the same the next night. It's not like playing a recording. So you don't know who's in the audience and what's that going to inspire, and who you're going to meet. Every night that I've worked at our shows, I've met people from different walks of my life, and they're like, wow, this is so fantastic. I'm so glad I'm here. This is unique and Toronto and Canadian, and hooray City of Toronto for pulling it together.
Absolutely. So let's explain again, because we've kind of talked around everything, what the series is about. That's already started. We should let people know, but they can still be part of this. What is it exactly, and how are the genres represented for each show?
Terrific, terrific. And I have to say right up front, it's not exhaustive. We've picked 6 genres. There's all kinds of other directions we could have gone in and added, but we had finite resources and finite calendar year, and Canada 150 will be winding down at the end of the year. So it was my colleague Mike Tanner who suggested we look at jazz, rock, folk, hip-hop, reggae, and global, and create a series out of that. At one point, we were wrestling with one big night in a big venue and celebrating them all. And I'm glad we've broken it down into 6 separate free shows in 6 historic venues.
And I'm going to jump in right now, because that's the other thing that's important, because not only are we highlighting these great artists who we're going to talk about in a moment, but we're also highlighting the great venues. We've heard so much about venues closing down, but you know what? We still have great venues out there.
Listen, in all my years, Rudy, of being a programmer, a curator, imbued in Toronto stories, nothing could have prepared us for our kickoff night at the Horseshoe, because it was the day Gord Downey died. And all the planning and all the organizing and all the promotion could not have prepared us for what became a wake and a celebration of his life and legacy. So Laurie Yates, when she got up and did her set, she had the whole audience singing Bob Cajun. And it was spontaneous, and she had to put on her reading glasses and read all the lyrics, and she said, I know you guys are going to help me get through this, and let's, raise a glass to Gord. That was the night we kicked off. Toronto Magic.
Wow. What are some of the other venues we're going to be able to go to? And again, going through the genres of music and some of the artists. I don't want to give all of them away,
Okay.
but I want people to be surprised with some of this
Right.
stuff.
Well-
But who are some of the artists?
Coming up. All right. So at Lula Lounge in a couple weeks, which is the hotspot for global sounds in Toronto. What do we mean by global? Salsa is their kind of go-to music, but we're going to have Jane Bennett, Toronto born and raised, but she's imbued herself in the spirit of Cuban music. So she's going to play with Maqueque, an all-female Cuban band. I mentioned the Royal Conservatory Global Orchestra. They're going to kick it off, and then the finale that night is Cobo Town. So Trinidadian sound, but again, infused through that Toronto Lula Lounge, global incubator kind of sound. We've got reggae this Saturday night at a restaurant that I've never been to up at Eglinton and Oakwood, Sankofa, with Jay Douglas, Nana McLean. We've got a DJ playing. We've got Donisha Pendergast, I believe is her name. She's Bob Marley's granddaughter. She's a filmmaker. She's going to come and talk with our program curator, Dalton Higgins, about why reggae is so big in Toronto. How did that start? What are the roots of that reggae sound? Dalton's saying, come on up to Little Jamaica and come to Sankofa on Saturday night and let's have a party and let's do some reggae. And we're going to conclude on November 11th. Oh, I've forgotten jazz. Jazz is November 10th at Walter Hall at U of T. And what's special about that night, Josh Grossman, artistic director of the Jazz Fest, has pulled it together. He's an alumni of the U of T jazz program, so we're going to celebrate the new sounds coming out of there with the students, the faculty who teach there, and then some of the alumni greats are going to perform that night at Walter Hall. And then we conclude on November 11th at a house party, a hip-hop house party in Parkdale.
Only way to do it.
And again, Dalton Higgins has pulled together a panel, so we're going to talk about the roots of hip-hop in Toronto with Cardinal Official. And one of the headliners, one of our veterans, is Mishimi. But this house is small. So right now I understand all the advance tickets are gone. There'll be some tickets at the door. Be prepared to be patient. We'll try to get you in there and go with the flow.
How can we get tickets to some of the other shows? If we can even sneak into this one, how do we go about that?
We've got a website, toronto.ca/MomenTO, which is our umbrella title for the program that celebrates people, places, and events in Toronto that have been inspirational across Canada. So toronto.ca/MomenTO, and you'll find Sounds Like Toronto in the link to our tickets. If it says they're all gone, I know we've still got some for Lula. Show up, be patient, because we're finding we've got some no-shows with people who've booked in advance. Life catches up with you. Show up at the door and we'll try to get you in.
And one more thing, and we got to make sure people understand. And what's the price for this to get these tickets?
Priceless. It's free. Thanks to our sponsors with the Canadian and provincial governments. For Canada, $150.
Wow, what a way to continue the music, fun, and excitement. Congratulations on this. Just curious, if people ever want to get in touch with you to ask you more about some of the things that are going on in Toronto or, upcoming events, is there a way they can contact you?
Email. It's good. jane.french@toronto.ca. That works, yeah.
That works.
The city. We like to say in museums and heritage services, we're in the business of telling Toronto stories. We've got stories all the time.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for the interview, but more importantly, thank you for doing what you're doing for live music in Toronto and Canada.
It's been a blast.